Yeah, we got to make an announcement here coming up. We can make it this week. I'm making it right now.
Clearly.
We won't have a show here in 2 weeks. Not next week. We'll have the show next week, but we won't have the show the first week of November. So I guess that would be November. I'm doing the math. 7th. Yep. November 7th. We will not have a show. We'll be on a cruise. I hope we'll be on a cruise.
There's a hurricane threat?
There is some low-key potential brewing in the Gulf, possibly, that might be brewing. But it's way, way too early to tell, and they do not know. And that would only occur possibly next week, end of next week. So Halloween. Think Halloween here.
Okay.
So you know how it goes with this shit. It's usually last minute in a general sense, and it all depends on the weather, and the weather changes all the time down here in the South. So I don't know.
That's fair. It is a long ways out.
Yeah. I just went to Walmart before this, purchased a lot of goods, right? We're doing taco night. I purchased a lot of beer, and now I just need to go to the liquor store and get that kind of stuff for everybody. We're going to have mules as well.
Fuck yes.
Yes. Okay. Evan likes mules. I know you like mules.
Yep.
And was it, I probably should ask you in the text, we're going to do it right now. Vodka tonic, was that for you? Is that what you wanted as well?
No, I'm a mule guy. I had requested just vodka and ginger beer, which is mules.
We'll get double.
Hell yeah.
Okay.
Who's the tonic guy? I guess you don't know because you asked me.
Evan, I know, has dabbled. Gin and tonics, he likes that. He also likes mules. So you guys are kind of in the same pocket, so which is kind of nice. So I can just focus on that. But yeah. We also got some high noons for backup.
Beautiful.
So,
yeah,
okay. Yeah. We got a little bit added on the topics here of the show that we'll get to here in just a moment. But we'll flash the basics here. You know where to find us. Apple Podcasts, anywhere you get your podcast for listening, you got that. YouTube's great. We were just talking about this before the show. If you like timestamps, so if you're listening to us audio form and you want video timestamps when we look at the spreads here using the Action resources, right, the Fantasy Labs, all that jazz, Market Labs, you can look at that. But anyway, Action UR codes, Joe_Wannabe Pro for Action, Alex_Meish if you want to follow our bets. Got a couple in extra college. I didn't have a ton. I thought it's going to be a tough week. It's a weird week. Not a lot of good games, really, in a general sense. Like last week was kind of a banger when you had, Tennessee and Bama and Texas and Georgia playing. This week's a little bit slower in terms of that. But that doesn't mean the value's not out there. Conference play, right? A lot of revenge games with conference play. A lot of kind of like low spreads. A lot of low spreads out there, too. So you could probably take advantage of maybe some money lines that'll get you. But anyway, if you're looking at the video form, you scan our codes there for Action app. Get us going. And that'll be it for that. Where we were right. You continue. I don't even know. This was expected, though. Slow start, strong here in the middle. I only hope you're the strongest. I don't know if you could be stronger than this heading into the first week of November. I continue to lose in college, which is supposed to be the strong suit, but I continue to win in the pro. I don't know. I didn't mean to throw a very heavy minus 175 for the Trey Hendrickson sack. He ended up getting 2 sacks. So, I think you said DraftKings doesn't do anything above 0.25, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And then, so people know this too. FanDuel sucks. Don't bet it there.
Okay.
Because FanDuel says, will this player record a sack? It's not even over under 0.5.
You're joking.
I am not joking.
Oh.
FanDuel sucks for sack props. Stay off of that.
Dang. Okay.
Because I know that because they were the only one that offered Trey Hendrickson and Sam Hubbard.
Shut up.
And I took them, and then because I was just like firing away, and then I was like, wait, this is player to record a sack. So what happens if they get half a sack? And I already know because I've dealt with support issues on FanDuel in the past. They would not care. They would take 48 hours to reply, and they would be like, it says player to record a sack. So just do it on DK because you get 0.25 there, so half a sack you win.
Jeez, that's some offshore shit right there.
Isn't it?
Yeah. Are the odds better? Because that's technically a 0.75.
Right, and odds were no better.
Okay, that's trash. That's stupid.
Yeah.
Trey Anderson did hit. He actually had 2 sacks. So that's pretty cool that he had it. So at least it hit. That was a best bet. Kind of cheating, but we'll take it. Kareem Hunt, that was really nice. He had a lot of, I think he had like 37 yards in the first half. So that hit. That was pretty cool. That felt good to get that one right. And then you routed a 4 off in a row.
4 in a row. Where do we start here? Let's go.
I mean, you pick
Lions
whatever.
Yeah. Well, I had to go back to the script real quick.
Yeah.
You move on to the next week. Sometimes I'm like, what did I bet last week?
Dude, I'm no different, man. I know.
Yeah. Lions plus 1.5. Didn't look good to start. They got down early. I think it was 10-0 maybe. Had that of course they went for it on 4th down, the fake punt on like their 10-yard line because Dan Campbell's just a G and does that shit. Love it. And they were plus 7.5, and I was like, do I fire on them? But one of the other areas I was right. I had the teaser with the Chiefs and the Lions. Yeah. And the live line was plus 7.5, and I ended up putting 4 units on that teaser. Biggest bet of the year so far. So I was like, I don't want more money on Lions at plus 7.5. Would have obviously cashed out well. And the best thing about this bet, because I gave it out at 1.5, they were down, or they were up 2 when the Vikings got the ball at the end. So I was like, fuck it. Lions kick a field goal. Bet cashes. Let's go. And then obviously they stopped him. So that was that one. Teaser, like I mentioned, Brock Purdy had his worst game of his career.
He did. I saw that.
Yeah, thank you, Brock Purdy. He had a 0.0 QBR when under pressure.
Jeez.
Isn't that wild? I mean, he's also dealing with Debo out. CMC is out. Juwan Jennings was out. But
what's crazy is he's now noted at passer rating under pressure is currently at 80.5 for the year. So that must have been so bad. Yeah, sorry, let me take your thunder, but yeah. That's what it says.
Wow.
I know. I'm just saying. Anyway, go ahead.
Just reading the data.
I'm just reading it.
Same game. Kittle over 51.5. Hit that in the first half.
Those are always good. Couch covers. That's why they're couch covers.
So good. So good. I've given out 3 props, and every one of them has hit before the fourth quarter so far. So I've got 2 more this week because obviously I'm got some confidence in that area. Yep. I've never been a big prop guy. I know you have been. But I'll tell you, as we've started doing this podcast, so I've put more work into it, I think I'm going to end up liking props more than sides and totals. Because I kind of feel like last week, where sometimes I get so lost in the data, I'm like, I don't see an edge. But with the prop, I seem to always find an edge with the prop. So we'll see how this transgresses. Final one, Eagles-Giants under 43.5. Thank you to the Giants offensive line for that.
Which, that's usual. For that,
right? Yes, gave up 7 sacks. The Giants only scored 3 points, so that really made that one easy too. Because the Eagles didn't do their part hitting the under, but the Giants sure did. So first 4-0 week for me, and feeling really good right now. So
as you should.
This is where it can get dangerous, though.
I know, because you're always waiting for the shoe to drop, right?
Yes,
that's always the kind of key here. Is like, what do you do from there? Where we were wrong, you got none. Alabama, Tennessee. That one was obviously a little bit up and down. I really like the bet a lot. And in a lot of these big games here, that's why I hate betting them. They could go either way if they were played again. Right. UAB, USF, I thought I was cash in the first half. I think it was only 17 points in the first half for that game. And then it ballooned. Is the lack for a better term. Absolutely. Nothing's ever a lock, and I did not consider it a couch cover. College football is the worst with this. Honestly, NFL is. I mean, the Vikings were up 28-0 at half earlier this year, and then they only won by 4 or whatever.
Yeah.
So, nonetheless, college football definitely with over-unders, it's never a lock, especially when it gets late. With onside kicks and, defenses playing complete, prevent. Nonetheless, it ballooned up, which is insane because both offenses are trash. But I guess Trent Dilfer saw something maybe that. So that was a tough loss. I really felt good about those two, but hopefully we'll rebound this week. All right. Nonetheless, we'll keep moving. We have still winning records. You're doing great. 18-16. My ROI was looking great. We took a little hit there with the Trey Hendrickson, but it hit, which is nice. And we'll have some more sack props here today. I looked before the podcast. They are not up yet, which is expected. Friday's usually a day. Saturday's a definite.
Yep.
We'll sneak those in. But there's the graphic. Alex is killing at 17-11. Hot hand. Love it. 18-16 for me, keeping the 2-2 vibes going, losing college, winning NFL, which is how it always is.
Every week.
I'd like to say, I'm usually good at college. Or, I usually sneak a winning record every year. Even last year, NFL killed it.
Yep.
And I didn't do sack props last year. I did regular old like spreads and money lines. So
yeah, which is so funny because I feel like you always put more of your hard work into college,
and I still do, and I still suck. I don't know,
and yet you still win at the NFL. Whereas me, I almost just give up on college because I can't win a fucking bet. So
it's just weird.
It's hard, dude.
I watch a lot of Pens hockey. I watch a lot of college football. I would say a decent bit of baseball. Not a ton. It's hard. It's 162 games.
Yeah.
Those are my worst sports in a general sense. Now, NHL, I'm 500 or sometimes above it. It's back and forth. But it's just, with college football, here's my problem. With a lot of these sports, here's my problem. I go hard and heavy on games that I lose. That's my ROI sucks, and I take a huge hit, right? And I'm just off on that. I need to tidy that up, get a little better. We'll figure it out.
And is that as far as more units pregame or doubling down live?
Both. It's usually more units pregame. Last week I went pretty hard on a Eastern Michigan under team total, and they went over it. They didn't kill it, but they definitely went over it. And I'm going to do the same thing this weekend. I really like the Arizona under for that. It's a 28.5. I really like that, but we'll get into that. That's where we're going next. Anyway, okay. Alex at the hot hand. Maybe you should listen now. Okay, here we go. We got a new kind of thing we're doing. I brought this up. It last to first 2023 division standings. Let's make that clear. This is a last place team, right, in the division standings from 2023. And I think the current streaks, I always try to look this up. It's like at 18 years or something. It was like 30 years, but there was 1 year that was apparently their break, so that's inaccurate in terms of last to first winner. So that's why I don't know how true that is. Nonetheless, I'll flash it up here. There we go. We were going to look at basically who is going to be the last to first NFL division winner for this season. These are the options for your picks. I've not made a pick yet. I was wanting to make the Cardinals preseason. I did not. I just put them to win the playoffs. I mean, make the playoffs. Maybe win the playoffs. Let's fucking go. But here's what I got. I kind of overlooked this. I mean, I'm trying to, I did an overview of it. I was wanting to know your thoughts. We kind of talked about it pre-show. First impressions? What do you got?
First impressions on the odds. Well, I think it's pretty easy to take half the teams off. Panthers, Raiders, Titans, Patriots, get rid of them. No chance. 0% chance, in my opinion, that they do it. So then the question becomes value versus who do you think? Because the easy answer for me is the Commanders. Now, plus 135, so it's do you see value? I do, because the Giants still just have so many issues on the offensive line. Cowboys just didn't do anything in the offseason, and that's showing. They also brought in a defensive coordinator that had been out of the league for a couple of years. Completely different scheme than what Dan Quinn ran. I don't see it. And I think the Eagles are overrated too still. I don't think they're very good. My eyes tell me the Eagles are not a very good football team. Something's still off. I think I've talked about it half the weeks at least. So anyways, Commanders seem like the easy bet. I'll let you get into the value talk because that's kind of the part of the question with this, right? Okay, who do we think? But then what's the value in the number?
Yeah.
So Commanders are plus 135. I would take them at anything plus money personally. And I'm actually going to open my app and put some money on this as we speak. So I'll let you kind of take over where you see value or what's your thoughts.
Yeah, I'm going to jump on top of you here just to piggyback off why the Commanders, I think, might be the best pick. The division is probably the weakest out of this allotment, I would say. I'm talking about as a top to bottom. And I'm going to rattle these off. I'm sorry if you're listening, but keep up. Giants, this is who they have remaining. And this also includes this weekend. Right? They got Bears, Giants, Steelers, Eagles, Cowboys, Titans, Saints, Eagles again, Falcons, and Cowboys. A lot of those teams are not very good. I'm assuming the best team remaining, probably, if you like the Steelers or them, are Eagles. Steelers or Eagles are the best, I guess.
Much.
And that's only two teams that's only two of the remaining. And there's a lot of NFL left to play. Now, the NFL is crazy, right? A lot of things could factor in here, up or down. I get that. Cowboys could find it, highly doubt it. But anyway, nonetheless, We were talking about this pre-show. Like I said, Bengals are coming on strong. We will be talking about them. Aren't we talking about them again?
Yes, because yes, we are.
Yeah, Eagles and Bengals. We talk about them every week. Well, our colors of the show, because we worked at the Cincinnati Bengals, are black and orange. It's not just for Halloween if you're watching for the first time. Nonetheless, we won't get on top of that. But Bengals specifically are plus 750. I think they've coming on strong. We'll go into more when they play the Eagles here this weekend and covering the game on this podcast. But in terms of value, man, like, what did I see? I'm going to mess this up. But after they lost and went 0-2, the Ravens have never won the division starting 0-2 when they started that. Yeah, never. So they obviously are the favorite at the moment. Well, Steelers too. I mean, that division's kind of a mess besides one team, in my opinion. So I think we talked about the Cardinals. The Cardinals could do it, but that value's trash. It's because the strength of schedule played for the Cardinals so far is ranked 1. And remaining does get a little easier, in my opinion. But if you really look at it, there's just a mix and mash, you're right, of teams that are not as good. But 49ers are at the end. How good are they going to be at the end? They could get better. McCaffrey comes back. How's he going to look? We don't know. Blah, you know? But yeah, plus 275, I don't like it. If you're looking at a value, I like the plus 750. You got Joe Burrow slinging it. Chase looks back into form. T. Higgins also looks back into form. Maybe a little better if you're looking at the PFF grade. And the defense, and you said it a few weeks ago now, I believe. Because it feels like we do the Bengals every week. If we don't do the Bengals, we're doing the Chiefs.
Hey, I disagree. I feel like I don't disagree on the Bengals part, but the Chiefs, I feel like I don't want to be a homer, so I don't always include them. And the Bengals, I'm not like actually a homer with them, so they've ended up making it every week. Because I feel like I know how to bet on them. I don't know. There's some teams you feel like you know how to bet.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
Totally.
Anyways,
agree.
Not to take your Steve.
Yeah, no, you're good. I was just saying they got some defensive players back. Trey Hendrickson has really came on, right? 2 sacks last weekend. We were kind of predicting it. I know it was minus 175, but hey, sacks are sacks, baby. B.J. Hill looks good, right? And that secondary, I'm not saying they're good, but they've gotten better. Not as bad. I think this Bengals team is coming along. Wait, Burrow gets better each week. He did have a little bit of a hump, like mix. If you look at the PFF grade, not as good, but before that, it was every week getting better. So that's why I think this plus 750 is real nice for that. You like the value there? Is that worth a bet for you because the value is so good or no?
Because what I see from the Ravens, no.
Okay.
Now the value, I do think you're right. That's like 750. I wouldn't have thought it would be that high, but I just like too much what I see from the Ravens right now, man.
I understand. Ravens best tackling football team in the NFL.
I think you said that last week. Did you? Or am I making that up?
No, you probably heard that from someone way smarter than me, but I just saw that yesterday.
I wouldn't even call someone way smarter than you. I'd call someone that has 60 hours to spend on football.
That's why they're pros, and we're sitting here being Joes.
Yep.
Okay, well, let's get it started here. We always have a lot to say. So, Cardinals, NFL first Cardinals at Dolphins. I'm going to start it with you. You can lead us off. I'll start with this question, and then you can run with it. How many points is Tua worth?
Versus Tyler Huntley?
I would just say, yeah, sure. I mean, that's obviously
because
what you have to do.
You have to have the comparison.
You have to do that. Okay.
Yeah. 6.
Wow, really? Okay.
Yeah, what do you got?
I was going to go not that many, maybe like a 3.5.
Okay.
Because if you look at game 1, and I guess I went off of 2 games. You look at game 1, I think him giving the ball to Tyreek is nice. Game 1 was a little bit of slow, but him and Tyreek kind of connected game 2, and Tyreek had a really good game, and also had a touchdown.
Yeah.
I would say 3.5, 4, but Tyler Huntley is not very good, so that's tough. But the Dolphins, anyway. Go ahead.
I'm kind of going off the hip with that, but 6 seems like a good number, and I'll give, but the scheme makes the difference. Like I think 2 is just a good fit for Mike McDaniel, so I think that's for me that elevates it, Whereas Tyler Huntley's not. Like he did okay with Greg Roman's system. Greg Roman is the former Ravens offensive coordinator now at the Chargers. It's a run heavy. that makes sense for Tyler Huntley.
It does.
In a timing system like Mike McDaniel does, where everything is based on like perfect time. That's where Tua is way better and Tyler Huntley's not. So anyway, I think that's kind of to justify the bigger drop or going from that. Now, with that said, I'm going to start off like this on this fucking game. And I say that because I have been talked out of a best bet. Now, I already made the bet. I'm not going to cash out of the bet. But my bet was terrible value. I took the Cardinals at plus 3.5. I took them. That number's now 4.5. And it doesn't surprise me because two of the people that I respect the most, that are pro bettors, both gave out the Dolphins.
Wow. Really?
And I said, I guess I shouldn't make that a best bet then. Now, like I said, I already bet it. I'm going to keep it. I'm not going to cash out. But it did scare me off the best bet. Man, I couldn't even find a prop for this game. And I feel like when I deep dive, I always find a prop or two I like. But here's the reason why. Dolphins have played a game and a half with Tua. I don't know what they're going to fucking look like when he's back. Cardinals just... I don't even know. You can attack the Cardinals in every single way from a defensive standpoint, like the Cardinals defense. 1 week, the opposing team's rusher goes for 150. Then the next week, the quarterback throws for 350. And it just flip-flops. Yeah. And it's like, because you know how some teams, like Ravens, they're a pass funnel team. Like, I'm going to bet the other team's receiving overs when the Ravens are playing. You know, things like that you can kind of look for. And with the Cardinals, it just seems like teams pick on them in different ways. So, I don't even have a prop for the game. I went with the Cardinals. Not a big data thing. Went with the Cardinals because the Miami Dolphins didn't look very good with Tua to start the year. And now he has this 4-week layoff. Like, I think he's going to come back rustier. So why do I take them? I want the 3.5 points with the Cardinals. I mean, they barely beat the Jaguars. They had to come from behind, and the Jaguars kind of shot themselves in the foot. We know what the Jaguars are now. Cardinals have had some good wins. They've had some bad losses. This is a bet against the Dolphins for me. This is strictly a bet that Tua is going to come back and be rusty, and the Dolphins just aren't what we thought they were coming into the season. I don't have, like, I put this game in here because I was like, ooh, I'm going to have a lot to talk about. It's an interesting matchup. Tua's coming back. Let's do this. I know I'm going to love the Cardinals. And then, looked around, listened to people. It's obviously not a best bet now. I couldn't even find a prop I liked. So that's all I have on this game.
Yeah, so you can definitely make the argument, I guess, that they've beaten the teams that they should and lost to the teams that they should, right? Lost to the Bills, Detroit, Commanders, and Green Bay. I'm assuming they should lose to Green Bay. They were last in the division, so we'll go with that, last season. They've beaten the Rams. They are better than the Rams this year. I think the Rams are weak. Yep. The San Francisco win is nice. 24-23. It was close. And the Chargers win, obviously only a 1-point spread, whatever you want to say about that. Either way, they won it. Sure. The only problem is, like, quarterbacks are pretty efficient against them. That's the thing. They can deliver the ball and get it out and get completions, right? That's their weakest spot, I would say. A lot of completions occur against this team. But before I go, anyone could read stats. I'm not going to read stats. You guys can read stats. Well, I will say I did find a prop.
You did?
I did.
Hell yeah.
But it's going to be hard to find. I'm going to need you here because my book doesn't have it. But I might need you. Okay. Let me get to my notes here. Sorry, I was... Dolphins are the 4th worst tackling team in the NFL, and they're also the 4th worst coverage team in the NFL. How about that?
Oh.
And if you look at Kyler Murray's numbers, they're pretty nice. Over a 90 quarterback rating, both pressure and not under pressure. So it's respectable. I mean, he's not the best. But a healthy Kyler Murray is a fine NFL quarterback. He's fine. He's fine.
Yes,
he's totally fine. Totally fine.
Little inconsistent for my liking.
Yeah, he is. He gets a little crazy, right? Because, like, here's the thing. Like you said, inconsistent. We got 4 sacks allowed versus Buffalo, 4 sacks allowed versus Washington, but they've only had 1 sack allowed in the last 3 games. Like, I know because Kyler likes to get out and about, right? The O-line factors in it. I'm just saying, like, talk to Spencer Rattler here in a little bit about sacks allowed. Here's my thing. With the coverage and tackling issues here by the Dolphins, okay? Because like you said, the Tua thing and all that, I don't even know what that's going to be, so I'm staying away from that junk. Okay? If they can't cover great and they don't tackle well, let's look at some yards after catch action, right? Because Kyler Murray can deliver the football. They've had like at least 3 or 4 games where he's had really nice completions and percentages, right? So that's why I'm like, let's get after that. I don't have this. I'm wondering what it's going to be. I think the book has no clue. Greg Dortch, their slot receiver.
Yeah.
Okay. Wonder what does the receiving yards look like there? Because I'm going to throw this stat out at you. Dortch is their best receiver for yards after catch per reception. He's better than Marvin Harrison.
Whoa. Okay.
I'll repeat it. Yards after catch per reception. Now, Marvin Harrison's a much better receiver. Got to catch a lot longer balls. Right. He's top 25, I think, in ranking in terms of receivers this year, receiving grade. So let's not get into that. In terms of yards after catch per reception, Dortch doesn't obviously get a lot of catches. I think his most yards on the year is 38. But I'm wondering what this number is because Vegas is going to have no clue. He's a 5'7" cat, short little dude. I'm wondering if it's like 15 yards. One catch could do it. It's not on the board yet. Everybody's on the board. Like Connor's on the board for 10.5. Harrison's on the board for a decent bit. Right. So I think 51.5 for Harrison. Here's my point. Dortch may not be your player if you're listening. I get it. I just threw out a name. You probably never heard of Greg Dortch. I'll be honest with you. I never have. But that's why we do this. So I'll learn. But I like it just based off that he's a short cat. You can't tackle. 1 or 2 break tackles, man. That could be your 38 yards right there that you need.
And I bet it won't be that high.
Okay. I know it's a tough sell. Because you're counting on targets and he doesn't have a ton. But if you get him in space, you never know.
I mean, hey, at least you have something to back it up.
That's all I got. Yeah, like you said, you look at a lot of information. Sometimes you just look at avenues. I see Kyler or completions. So. Yeah,
and I think Dolphins are a pretty man-heavy defense. So,
and I looked at Kyler's completions. It's 21.5. That's he's only hit over that once this season. You know.
Yeah, I mean, Dolphins' defense isn't impressive, but
I know
not that bad. Not that bad though.
And James Conner did have 6.2 yards carry last year. So do they try to run more in this game? I don't know. I think it's a tough game. That's my bet. It's not a best bet. Greg Dortch, if you can find it. If you like other receivers and it's kind of your vibe, go for that as well. That's my go-to.
I like it. Hey, there we go.
All right.
That's more than I could do.
That's so good.
On this game.
Tough game. All right. We'll go to Alex's makeshift favorite team only because he thinks he knows them very well, which considering the hot hand, maybe he does. And if you find the Greg Dortch, I'm assuming they don't have it, is my guess.
Not right now. I did check.
They
don't have anything right now. Yeah. The only reason I said it might be lower than 38 is because the M. Wilson, don't even know who that is. He's listed at like 32.5. So I assume Greg Dortch should be a touch lower.
Yeah, Michael Wilson, I think his name
there
is.
There you go, Michael Wilson.
Yeah, is their other receiver that they have that's on the other side of Harrison.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. Let me bring up our Bengals here. Sorry, I was a little slow at the trigger here. There we go. Eagles at Bengals. I really like this game. I really like that you put it on there, not because our colors are orange and black for the show. I'll let you lead us off again. NFL is your thing. You have the hot hand. You deserve to go first. Eagles at Bengals. I'm not going to say where. Go ahead. What you
got? Man, I'm scrambled on my thoughts here. But
I'm sorry. I got you with the Dortch. I threw you off. We're like, who the fuck is that guy?
Oh, no, that's not it. Work threw me off. Getting home right before this podcast threw me off. I think I have the bet of the week, though, on this game. Because this is a game where I came in and I wanted to take the Bengals at 2.5. And I probably still will, to be fair. It's not going to be a best bet for me, but I'm very much on the Bengals side. I'm still very much want to find a way to fade the Eagles. I don't care that they came off of a bye and drummed the Giants without Andrew Thomas. Don't care. Means nothing to me. The only concern is looking through the Bengals' last few games. They haven't looked very good either. I mean, I kind of sleepwalked the way through the Giants and the Browns, and it's like, okay, your defense is better, but where'd that offense go? But I still very much lean Bengals here because we've still got T. Higgins. We've still got Jamar Chase. And the Eagles' defense is gettable, just because the Giants and the Saints couldn't do anything with him, right when the Saints were falling off. That's kind of when their offense went to shit, was that game. They had all those injuries. But anyway, so here I go start looking. Let's go look at this Bengals defense here. What have other teams done? Every team the Bengals have played, their number one receiver has blown up. Over 100 yards. Everybody. So then I go and let me go actually look at the data on PFF. Oh, well, their outside corners are not very good, but their slot corner, pretty fucking good. Same with the Eagles, by the way. Outside corners, not graded well. Slot corner graded well. But it makes sense because sometimes you think, well, why is this guy in the slot? He doesn't play as much as these other guys, but he's graded way higher. And I don't know the reason. I wonder if you do. So after I'm done talking, maybe you know why a cornerback is labeled as an outside corner versus a slot. And I only ask that because, they're very particular. Like, this guy's a slot corner. This guy's a slot receiver. And I think it has something to do with physicality because they're going to have to be up there against the run some more. But I also think of the slot receiver as like a guy that can wiggle through the middle a little bit. So I would think you want a guy that's quick in the slot too. So anyways, torn on that. Anyways, it's just interesting that both teams have a better slot corner than their outside guys. Well, A.J. Brown has only been healthy 3 games this year. In every game, he has went over his prop number this week. In every game that the Bengals have played, the other team's opposing receiver has blown up. So this is my biggest bet of the week. I am on A.J. Brown over 72.5 receiving yards. Absolutely love it. Love everything about it. That's how I'm going to choose it, to attack it. Like I said, my pick'em league, the lane is going to be the Bengals because I think they can get something going here against the Eagles defense. Yeah, that's I'm kind of stuck there.
I have A.J. Brown 75.5, so maybe you're ahead of the curve here, Big Pimp. You know what I'm saying?
I did. I hit it last night. So
do you like it that high?
Absolutely. It's only 3 yards different.
Shit, man. You know how betting goes. It's scary. All right. Anyway, nonetheless, I just hit it. Okay. Yeah, and Xavier Tillman last week for the Browns. 12 targets, I believe I'm getting that right. I'm not looking at it directly. I know he went, off. Xavier Tillman, we kind of looked at this a few weeks ago when we were talking about the Judy prop. Xavier Tillman was, I know, at least a worst 3 receiver in the NFL on PFF grade.
Oof.
Yes. Tillman went off last week, if you're talking fantasy purposes, probably was a heavy pickup this week for the Browns because they don't have a Cooper anymore. Judy doesn't get any targets, probably because he's a shitty route runner. He's just like a deep threat that drops the ball in the end zone. Yes. So Tillman's the guy, and Njoku went off as well, right? So maybe a tight end look is decent there. I don't know. It's up to you. The Browns obviously don't have any receivers really, so that's why Njoku probably gets a lot. I love the Bengals in the matchup. Have the Bengals money line because I hate screwing around with spreads for the NFL. Cincinnati's 6-0 against the spread versus the Eagles since 2000.
Ooh.
Never lost since 2000.
Had they beat them with Jalen Hurts this edition, do you know?
Have they beat them? I believe they
or even played them, just played them. And because you referenced.
Ooh, that's a good point. I got you right here. Sorry, I didn't have it up in front of me. 2020. Yeah. Ooh. Yes, he was on the team in 2020.
Yeah, 2020. Okay.
Because he started that playoff game versus the Buccaneers at Buccaneers with TB.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
And lost.
Yes. That's before he knew how to throw an accurate pass. Yes.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay. So he was on the 2020 team, and the Bengals beat the shit out of him 32-14, and Bengals were only favored by 1.5.
Oof. Okay.
Okay. If you're looking at it, Philadelphia only had 2.8 rushing yards that game. But, oh no, sorry. They actually had a huge rushing yards, 4.9. Sorry, I was looking at, it was too close in the line. But the Bengals threw it all over the field. They had 312 passing yards in that game, did. So, oh my gosh, okay. Anyway, sorry, we don't need to get into that. That was a long time ago, about 5 years ago, 4 years ago. So, we don't need to get involved in that. But here's what I got. 6-0 against the spread. I like that. Trying to get away from trends a little bit, but that did pique my interest. I think the Bengals are on the trend. Right? I talk shit about you here, right? They were actually like this, I guess, because we saw a bounce back here with Burrow coming back, right? So they were here, and then I thought they definitely went down. Typical Bengals, right? You lose in every game when they start the year, especially with this exact.
Yes.
Yep. Now I think we're like this. So you weren't wrong, in my opinion. Now, right? I think we're like this. Burrow. Yeah. You said last week they were a little bumpy. They could have been, in a way, kind of lucky to get out of that game because went to the third string quarterback. I hate when they say emergency quarterback. Is Winston really an emergency quarterback? Is that where we're at now?
Well, I think because remember you know how there's 53 players on a roster, but you can only dress up 46 of them. Well, remember 2 years ago it was the NFC Championship game, Niners-Eagles, and both of Niners quarterbacks went down, and so they had a fucking running back at quarterback. So now they gave this emergency tag that does not account against that 46 that are dressed.
Okay.
So he's not like an emergency guy. They don't have to count him towards that 46. He can be that third guy. Although he obviously got demoted from second to third string before that game, though, which I had no idea. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, DTR is he's probably the best fantasy or DraftKings preseason player. Thompson Robinson, because he always has really good stats in the preseason. But in the NFL, he throws picks like it's nobody's job. Like he turns the ball over like a shit ton. Funny enough, I did see this. Only 4 sacks allowed by the Browns this week.
Oh,
under their average. Under their average.
We did talk how their offensive line got some guys back, couple weeks under. So we said it could get better, and with Nick Chubb coming back,
you said there was going to be some regression. I don't know if I want to be on the right, that side. Okay, nonetheless, the defense is a lot healthier. We've seen that for the Bengals, right? B.J. Hill back, Trey Henderson's now kind of fully healthy, getting after it here, getting after the quarterback, getting back to his stats from last year. Fred Johnson, if you take a look at the old PFF, almost the worst pass blocking left tackle in the league. Pretty damn close. Guess who's hot right now? We bet on him last week. Trey Henderson, 23rd best graded edge rusher in the NFL. B.J. Hill's pretty damn good. We just talked about him a little bit.
Ooh. Going back to Trey.
I don't know how good this guy is. This is because I learn as I go with the NFL, especially coming back into this pocket of learning. Like it tells you how far I was behind. You guys can stop listening if you hear this, but I do a lot of research. I learn as I go. I didn't even know Fred Warner was probably better than Patrick Willis. He's better than Patrick Willis, I think, at this point. Patrick Willis, when I was a kid, was a beast. Fred Warner's obviously a beast. I'm not trying to get on 49ers talk here, but I know who that guy is now. Davis Gather is back.
I'm not even sure how you say it.
Okay. It looks like I don't understand. I guess because snaps played hasn't been a lot, so the grade is low. I'm not really sure why he's so low, but they have him slotted in there to play some more. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't really know what that means. Nonetheless, Burrow had a kind of a down week. He was obviously going up after the first 2 games looking like ass. Yep. Started playing better. Expect to bounce back this week. I do. I expect to bounce back this week. I don't have any sack prop. I'm not going there. I just have a simple Bengals money line. They're at home. I just expect a better performance from Burrow. The 2 receivers are doing just fine. I don't think that's an issue. I just see this team rolling, man. There's some things that they get back to that they're a little bit better at, and it's kind of like a field play.
I have those all the time.
There was one other thing I did see, and in terms of strength of schedule, it was the Eagles have a 30th strength of schedule played. The Bengals are sitting at 19th. I'm assuming because obviously the Commanders are probably going to win it. Well, at least Vegas thinks they're going to win the division. Sorry. Right. And this division, the Ravens are obviously predicted to win the division as well. So their strength of schedule is pretty solid. And I just don't think I think Hurts is on a regression.
I do too, man, big time. I think ever since Shane Steichen left, I've been kind of down on the Eagles ever since he left. Yeah. Shane Steichen, what he did with Gardner Minshew in Indianapolis last year, I just respect. You see it. We see this. We see coaches come in and guys all of a sudden get better. I mean, Baker Mayfield, when he got with a competent OC, we're like, oh shit, bro, this guy's an average to above average quarterback now. Like, book it. Now he's got 2 elite receivers, not anymore. Yeah. So that helps. That makes him look even better. But like, people wanted to throw him to the garbage can. You get a couple competent OCs and the guy's good. When you lose a competent OC and you're Jalen Hurts, you're not very good, bro. Sorry, you're not. You got paid. The Eagles paid you at the wrong time. Yeah. I'll
recap this. We just talked about Trey Hendrickson going against a very weak pass block tackle. 67.9 passer rating under pressure for Hurts this year. turnover worthy play percentage is at 5.21%. I think there's our combo go hand in hand, right? You get pressure, you throw stupid shit, right? And power rating for PFF, 18th for the Eagles, 5 for the Bengals. Bengals have played a tougher schedule. A lot of signals point towards a Bengals win, but it's kind of interesting because if you look at the cash is all on the Eagles. You do what you want with that. I still like the Bengals here, but that's my play.
Yep, I'm with you. It's funny you brought that up because that's I was trying to fit that in.
Sorry.
And just so people know, so he said Jalen Hurts turnover worthy play percentage is 5.2%. Joe Burrow is 1.1%. Just to put that in perspective.
And that's after two atrocious games, week 1 and 2.
Yep.
All right, next is Colts at Texans here. I thought this game was really tough. You texted me, should we keep it on? Should we take it off? Should we keep it on? I thought it was tough. I did see some things. This is me asking your opinion here, but you can go ahead first. What you got?
Okay. Yeah, well, I'm sad. This was actually going to be a best bet for me, but or maybe did I put it on there? I don't think I took it off because the number just wasn't. So I took the Colts at +6. And the reason I wanted this game, when I asked, like, hey, should we do this? Oh, I did leave it on.
You did?
Oh, because to buy it up to 6. So you can still buy this game up to 6. I do not know if you will be able to for much longer, but that would be my recommendation. So that's why I had this game in here. But yeah, then the number dropped to 5, and I'm like, well, I can't get it out at 5. But I was like, fuck it, let me go look. Like, oh, you can still pay to 125, and I think that's the better thing. Sometimes paying to the money line. For me, I'm going to buy that extra point and get it up to 6. Anthony Richardson scares me.
As you should.
However, the Texans do not. The Texans do not scare me. They give up big plays, and that is kind of what Anthony Richardson and the Colts can do. The Colts get DeForest Buckner back on that defense line. He's their highest graded defense lineman. These two teams are familiar with each other. Second division game this year. C.J. Stroud. If people don't know this, he threw for 86 yards last week against the vaunted Green Bay Packers defense. I say that sarcastically. I have felt with my eyes that something's been off with C.J. Stroud all year, and we finally got to see it. That plays a large portion into this because what's crazy? Joe Mixon went off last week. What did he run for? 130, 150 yards? When you have a run game and you still can't throw behind it, I think, and we see this with rookie quarterbacks sometimes, we see them have a good first year, and what does everybody do in the offseason? Passing it to you. They watch film, right?
Oh, sorry. I was looking at the numbers.
Okay. You're good. I was like
55 total passing yards by the Texans last week. 55. That was mesmerized. Sorry. They watch film and they practice.
They figure people out. People out.
Sophomore slump. You got film on them, just like pitchers in MLB, right? After they pitch a few games, you get film on them, right? You know how their tendencies. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yep. Oh, you're good. And so C.J. Stroud could get better this year. I think more likely he could figure out over the summer what teams did against him, and you kind of get in that battle, and then he's going to have the next maturity level if he does take that next step. But right now, I don't think he's that good, especially with Nico Collins out. That's been huge, man. Losing Nico Collins, top-rated wide receiver.
Yeah, that's huge, man. You're right. It was. PFF number 1.
Yeah. It's been a big deal. So do I think the Colts are great? Am I scared by the bet? A little bit, but that's only because of Anthony Richardson. And I think the Texans can be had over the top because they have a good defensive line. So, looking through PFF, this is one of those where I look through it and I'm like, I don't know if I like the Colts a ton because the Texans have so many highly graded players. But again, just my eyes tell me this is a spot for the Colts. Other thing. So I did go and look at the Colts defense though, because I was like, oh, Colts get shredded through the air by everybody. It's kind of like the last game we talked about.
Yeah.
Actually, what happens, everybody runs the fucking ball on the Colts, and they all run it for over 100 yards. Everybody, book it. So then I go back. I'm like, oh, well, we get DeForest Buckner back. Uh-oh. Even when they had DeForest Buckner, teams could run the fucking football on him. He can put some pressure on him, but teams could still run the football. And Joe Mixon, so I have Joe Mixon's prop. With him and A.J. Brown, it seems so Joe-ish, but I don't care. I feel like a lot of my props have seemed Joe-ish because I'm taking big-name guys, but I think I'm taking them in the right spots, and so I am back on Joe Mixon here. Or not back, but I'm backing him over 76.5 rushing yards. Every game he's been active for a full game, he's hit it. Go look at the Colts schedule. Everybody that has played the Colts, their number one runner, fucking obliterates them. They run, I think the lowest is 92 yards. So that's actually my favorite bet, but I am also on the Colts here too.
Yeah, the lowest is 2.3 yards a carry. Chicago really got it. Chicago's a good defense too. That was week 3. 28 carries for 63 yards is what their defense held them to. But they have never held a rusher under 4.1 yards a carry in a game since then, or before or since.
That's so bad.
Oh, it's awful. It's pretty bad. So yeah, that's a probably pretty solid exploit. I mean, especially, shoot, if Jacksonville wasn't losing, probably at that point,
yeah,
they probably would have won. 23 carries for 126 at 5.5 yards a carry, and Jacksonville lost. Right? I mean, Jacksonville's bad, don't get me wrong, but Jacksonville also threw for 371. So the Joe Mixon play, okay, interesting. So this is insane. One thing I did look at is Texans get a lot of kind of linebackers kind of slotting in with more snaps. Neville Hewitt. Go Herd. Oh, I got a thing in my eye. Let's go.
Go Herd.
Neville Hewitt. Oh my gosh. When I saw him, so he drafted in 2015. So it literally was right after me. He was at Marshall in my grad year. What an absolute boss. Just a solid football player. Made the league up and down, right, like an Ahmad Bradshaw, kind of up and down, all over the place. As he started getting the league, kind of caught his fight. Dude, he's back. He's killing it right now as a starter for the Texans. Came back week 6. Week 6, play a little bit of snaps. Week 7, full allotment of stats. Having a pretty good grade, I guess. His coverage grade is the best, but defense overall is 84. Then they get a guy that's back this week. I don't know him. This is me learning. Delshon Phillips. Don't know him. Wasn't drafted. Illinois.
Same.
Okay. But I don't know if he's a back. He could be a backup as well. But Jake Hansen came back week 6, played like 7 snaps. Now he's full snaps. Week 7, probably play week 8. Very 91.2 run defense grade. So they got a lot of, let's just call it new linebackers now playing this week for the Texans. I don't know if that's good or bad. I think it's something to consider looking at. So this is where I want your opinion. Where I'm going with this is I'm not sure what this means, okay? Texans are ranked 15th in pass rush, right in the middle. Okay?
Yep.
Anthony Richardson, right, had a lot of scramble and design run plays last week. 14 total carries, I believe is what I saw. That was a season high, which is weird because I just thought it was weird. But maybe because the Dolphins, right? They play the Dolphins, they can't tackle. I don't know.
Yeah.
The Texans have these new linebackers, right? They're kind of decent. They're pretty good at pass rushing, pass defense, things like that. I'm wondering, do we attack? And because Anthony Richardson went off in the rushing versus this team in week 1. Do we attack Anthony Richardson rushing yards the ball? Coming off of last week with designed runs. Mm-hmm. This week, 39.5 is what I saw it out rushing yards. Okay. Am I off here? Am I on here? Only reason is because if you look at their D linemen, I'm talking interior. Let's focus on interior here.
Bad for the Texans?
Yeah, there we go. A bit weak. New linebackers playing fresh, right? We're talking most snaps were probably last week. I hate going against my boy Neville Hewitt, but you know what I'm saying here. Newer linebackers here's the point, did not play week 1. Is that good or is that bad? They didn't see Richardson week 1. Is that good or is that bad? I don't know. I just want to know if it's Anthony Richardson problem.
I think it's bad, and here's the reason. Do you know Lamar Jackson? What's his record against the NFC? Like 20-1 now?
Gosh, yeah.
He's lost one game against the NFC. My theory on that is because the AFC knows they play against him, repeated times. So they're like, okay, we kind of know how to beat this extremely athletic quarterback. Versus NFC teams, they see him once every 4 years, so they're just not used to that. So I think it's good so my point is, if you're not used to it, I think it's harder to adjust to it. Let's go see if the Texans, real quick, kind of doing this on the fly. Caleb Williams against them. I'm looking for any type of athletic quarterback versus the Texans. Caleb Williams, 5 for 44. Non-athletic. Let's see, what did Josh Allen do? Although they're familiar with Josh Allen, 4 for 54. Those are the only 2 athletic quarterbacks they played. And then week 1, when the Colts played them, Anthony Richardson, I think you already said this, 6 for 56.
My only problem with Richardson, if we're just talking here to talk, is he has 4 fumbles on the year and 1 in his last 2 games. I know he's been injured. So he had 1 against the Steelers in week 4, and he had another fumble again in week 7 last week versus the Dolphins. That kind of sucks, But the design, here's the point. The design runs and the scrambles. He had the most scrambles that he's had all year. Last week he had 5. Right, and you would think a quarterback like that loves to do that would have more than that, or at least that regularly. I don't know. Yeah. A lot of these things stick out. It's just, do the linebackers, the new linebackers, are they going to be expecting this? I know you watch. They're going to watch film too. But it's 39.5 is what I saw it at last. I just thought that might be a play here. There's things to look at. So what, in your opinion, with these running quarterbacks, you know what I mean, that we see? I actually was against Richardson in the running prop. Now I see how low it is at 3.5. And with these new linebackers, I'm actually for the running prop because it's low. Because he had 56 rushing yards last week at only 4.0 yards a carry. And if you... I hate doing this, and I'll leave it at this as my final thing. He had 56 rushing yards versus the Texans week 1. But only 6 attempts.
And not a lot of quarterbacks have had a lot of attempts versus the Texans.
That's also not good. But
I don't know. I just wouldn't put a full unit on it.
Okay. Yeah, okay. All right, there's not a ton more.
Yeah, so I did this when Drake May played the Texans. Or wasn't it Drake May? Yes, it was for Drake May. Because I was like, ooh, first start, guy's athletic. And then I went and looked at the Texans, and I was like, man, they've allowed any athletic quarterback to all run for over 50 yards. I pounded that, and he went over his prop. So I'm glad you brought that up, because I did not think about that angle. And the new linebackers, I'm telling you, takes you a second to adjust. And Shane Steichen should have an active interest in running him to the ground and getting him hurt so we can put in Joe Flacco.
Dude, that's the real point. That's the real point we brought this all up. Is we want them to run more, to be injured. That's not what we want, but you know what I'm saying. To be injured for Joe Flacco to come in and win some more freaking ball games. And if you like the Colts to win the division, hammer it, because Joe Flacco's coming up.
Love that guy.
I mean, it's just the thing. That's why I was like, all right, I had the Texans as a bet, by the way. Not
to
a best
division,
bet.
Or
no, to win this weekend.
Oh, do you really? Oh shit!
I'm sorry. This is this is one-liner.
You hate Anthony Richardson.
Anthony Richardson ain't good, and he ain't winning. That's it, man. That's it.
Check this out, though. The opening line was 6. We're down to 5.5 at some books.
And I got it at 6.
So it's gone down, but well, that's like me and the Cardinals. But the interesting thing, 13% of the cash is on the Colts, yet the number is moving down.
I know. Reverse.
That's not a good sign.
No, it's not. And I know I don't like it either, but it happened. I don't hate it because Richardson's not good. Like,
no, he's not.
He thinks he's a better. If you really dive into the numbers, if he stays in the pocket, he's better than he is running. If you really look into it, mainly because he fumbles. He fumbles.
Okay.
But if you really look into it, like, he's a slightly better quarterback throwing. And I'm talking, when you're so shitty and you're slightly better, you're just still shitty. That's my point. Okay. Nonetheless.
All right. Move on from that.
Yeah. Enough about Anthony Richardson. He's not even good. All right. Sack props. You actually are kind of started diving into this. You're like, this sack.
You've got me interested.
The sack shit's kind of hitting too much. I kind of dove into some games. I think we have a situation like we did last week in terms of we might have a minus like a 200, 175 for a game, but another one might kind of peak out here a little bit. Let's start with the one that might be of value. I don't have it yet. I don't think it's posted. Jets at Patriots. The Patriots specifically, that's why we always pick on these teams. Patriots are the second most sacks allowed in the league. Okay. We may be a week off on getting away from the Browns. We may want to hit them again this week. I don't know. But I tried to start to shift here. The Patriots with a rookie quarterback are a good attack point. My first thought is, and I'll start with this, kick it to you here. Hassan Reddick comes back this week. He was just signed, got his contract. Does this make a difference for you? Does you attack this, or is he too raw coming out? Not enough snaps. Won't get a lot of snaps. What are your thoughts with Hassan Reddick? I wonder what that prop's going to be.
Man, yes. You took it from my mouth. That's my only concern. I don't know what the guy's been doing for the past 4 months. Has he been working out? Has he been sitting around fucking eating Cheetos? I don't know.
Yeah.
Because his matchup, he's going against the worst graded tackle in the fucking NFL. And he was great in Philly. So, but is he on a snap count? Is he in shape? That's tough.
Yeah, my worry here with that was the snap count. I'm assuming it would be at least half or low, whatever you want to phrase that as. Okay, so that's why I focused on Michael Clemens. I'm assuming it's pronounced Michael. Michael Clemens, sack prop. Like it here. Weak offensive line. We don't need to go in that. They grade pretty poorly. As we always talk about with defensive ends, they're going to switch them. Right?
Yeah.
I'm assuming they'll flip Reddick maybe the other side. Probably even take Reddick out some because we talk about the snap count. So I like that. Demontre Jacobs, worst tackle in the league for the New England Patriots.
Worst tackle.
I just don't know. It's you know how these things go, right? Whatever, if you don't do Reddick or if you do Clemens, you're going to be on the wrong side. But we've been having some pretty decent luck here.
We have.
I'm going to go with Michael Clemens. Has had a solid year, graded out pretty solidly with the pass rush grade. I'm going to go with Michael Clemens here. I'm going to play fair this week as we get into this next sack problem. Be a little bit. Let's put the best bet at better odds instead of a minus, because this next one we talk about is probably going to be pretty bad in terms of value. So,
okay, is it? Well, I'll let you introduce the next.
Yeah,
one.
the next one. We'll keep it moving here. Saints at Chargers. I did recently look. You told me, but they will stick with Spencer Rattler going into this week.
I heard that today, and I meant to text you. I was driving, but I meant to be like, damn, you're right. But anyways, yes.
Just to be clear, Spencer Rattler is still a first-round draft pick in my eyes. I think.
Come on. Never left OU.
That's right. The O-line is tough. You talked about it on the game last week. It's hard to kind of judge a quarterback when you don't have any time to throw. I don't know. I'm not going to go into that in terms of maybe I'm wrong with it. I don't know. Nonetheless, Rattler had 5 sacks in his first start. He let up 6 or had 6. 5 in the first start, 6 in his last start. So it's a lot of sacks, 11 total in 2 starts. That's a lot. Here's a weird thing, though. I like to get your take as a kick it to you. Khalil Mack, sack prop is what I like here. Over half a sack. I'm assuming probably minus 200. We don't know yet. But Mack graded over a 90 pass rush rating last week, but he had this many sacks. Now watch it on video. It's a goose egg. It's a 0. So with that said, the entire Chargers team as a whole against Kyler Murray, who has let up some sacks, 4 one game, 4 another game. So there's been some sacks on Kyler Murray. 0 sacks as a whole for the Chargers last week. 0.
Oof.
They've never had less than 2 the entire year in a game. That's pretty nuts, right? Higher than 2 every game besides last week. Has to be some bounce back. Who's the bounce back? Especially with Khalil Mack, who's an absolute beast. I'm banking on him getting one. Is there a number we cut it off at? Is 200 too high? What you got?
150.
I
would still bet it at 150. What do we know? What does Khalil Mack have for sacks on the year? Are we able to pull that up real quick?
We can.
Because I pull this up. This doesn't. I guess okay. View player page. Let me see here.
Oh yeah, I got this, dude. I got
3 sacks is all. Jeez.
Yeah, and he had 0 last week. But his grade was very good at rushing the quarterback. Right, and I was like, okay, that's nice.
He's graded out incredibly well. Yeah.
Yeah, graded out, third best edge rusher in the league as a whole. And obviously the Saints line is relatively weak, for sure. We know that, right?
Yeah.
The only thing is someone's going to get sacks against this team. We've had 6 right last week. We had 5 the week before against Rattler. So let's just say it's worst case scenario. Let's say 4. I don't know if that's worst case scenario, but that's what the Bengals allowed this week. Browns allowed this past week. So let's go with that. Who is it? Bud Dupree's had a game where he's had 2. Bud Dupree is the worst graded edge rusher in the NFL this season.
First round pick.
I don't know if I'm prepared mentally to bet on Bud Dupree.
No. Especially when you look at his picture. Fuck yeah. That guy looks like he's dying.
Yeah, and if you look at some other options, Deion Henley is 46.5 pass rush grade. Not good enough. You look at Perryman. Pretty solid. But if I remember correctly, his stat numbers didn't jump off the page. Denzel Perryman, which is a linebacker, didn't jump off the page. Yeah. Someone's got to get these. Fox has someone's got to get these, and I'm assuming Max snags one. That's where I'm at. I don't know.
It's safe to assume that, especially because a rookie quarterback. You know, I feel like some veterans, like, they're very aware of when they play studs. Like, I don't know. I feel like rookie quarterbacks sometimes can get sacked 4 times by the same guy. Yeah. Joey Bosa is questionable. They don't have him listed in the lineups, so I wonder what his chance of playing is.
If he plays, that's a good bet.
Yeah, I bet his odds with Dobie would be so bad.
That's probably a minus 200.
Yes. I think I would take the cheaper of the two options.
I am too, yeah.
If they both play. Because I'm with you. I don't want to take the worst rated pass rusher in the NFL.
I can't.
Bud Dupree. I can't, and their interior rushers aren't graded out very good either.
I know. So there's value here, but can you go get it? I don't have that answer. I'm sorry. But someone's going to get it.
Someone is going to get it. We'll have to keep an eye out on that one.
So maybe that's a you and I look at the odds, make a judgment call. Because that's what it's going to come down to with this. I mean, it could be a slot corner. We just talked about slot corners yourself personally. They're very athletic, due to the slot receivers being very athletic, but they also blitz.
They do.
Blitzes some, and that's also a big part of their game. That's why.
That is true. Yeah.
Okay.
That's like it's good to know the D coordinator and their philosophy, because like a Steve Spagnuolo, that guy blitzes people from all over the field.
Yeah.
You know, so when you know that, you're like, yeah, I'll take those linebackers and those slot corners.
Well, I looked at the Chargers, man. They sub some guys. There's subs that have sacks. There's subs out there that have sacks. So it's going to be hard.
Yeah. Can I, real quick, let me throw out my...
Please do.
One other option here.
Hit it. Go.
And I texted you about this. Alex Highsmith.
Yes, Steelers.
And not TJ Watt, because TJ Watt's going to get all the attention. But Alex Highsmith is a very respectable guy, and he is going up against Joshua Azadu.
Yep.
Azadu. I shouldn't have tried to pronounce that. Either way, he's graded out very poorly over 3 years. It doesn't even have a grade this year, which means he hasn't played a lot of snaps. Actually, I can tell you he has played 58 total snaps. So last week was his first start, it appears. So he'll be making his second start this year for the Giants. Oh, in place of Andrew Thomas, Their offense line isn't great overall, but if you're going to double someone, you're going to double TJ Watt. We see it every primetime game. He's going to get the double. So I think Alex Highsmith, depending on his odds too, I think he's a good look.
7 sacks last year, only 1 sack this year. And he's really, besides week 2, he's only averaging 1 sack hurry, jeez. 1 hurry a game. Now, here's the thing in your favor. He had 1 hurry and 2 hits on the quarterback last game. I just thought, depending on the number, I thought it was risky. If you look at the Steelers' grand total numbers, their sacks aren't that high. They're really not. We talked about this on text.
Yes.
It's not as high as you think. You're like, TJ, duh. Their total sacks as a team is not as high as you think. Unless this number is juicy, I don't know if I'm taking it. I don't know what do you want?
I want him to play against Daniel Jones. That's what I get.
I just want him against Daniel Jones, brother. That's what I want.
Yeah, that's what I got, baby.
Okay.
Yeah, because we talked about this over text. I think sometimes the Steelers don't get those sacks because people know when they play the Steelers, like, we got to get the fuck ball out of our hands.
Yeah.
Ball out of your hands.
Yep.
You know? And I don't know. Daniel Jones just doesn't seem like a smart enough guy.
Yeah, a very good run defense grade for Alex Highsmith last week. Very good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, all right, let's move on. College football. We'll get you. Somebody's got to bounce back. All right. LSU. I'll move this over here. LSU at Texas A&M. I'm assuming, in my opinion, because if you look at the standings, these are the top 2 teams in the SEC at the moment. Okay.
Yes.
At the moment. Okay. So this is a very good game. I see the spread has dropped, so maybe I'm on the right side of the number. We're going to talk about it here. I'll lead us off. The home team, this is the most insane part of it. If you listen at any part of this game, the home team has won 7 straight in this series.
Wow.
That's insane, man. But both teams should be undefeated. A&M should not have lost. A&M should not have lost to Notre Dame at home. And LSU should not have lost to USC in that game. LSU had that game in hand, and they did. I guess they stopped carrying. I don't know. We don't need to go into it, but they both have a loss they should not have. We talked about that A&M D-line being so stud-like, right? $10 million. They didn't have any sacks week 1. They had no sacks week 2. It kind of came on a little bit. They kind of found it. But at the end of the day, both D-lines don't grade good at pass rush. LSU has their issues on defense. They've gotten a little bit better, but they don't grade well there. The thing is, A&M likes to run, and LSU is the best against the run. That is their strength. Here's what concerns me. I have LSU plus 2.5 in this game. I took the points. It's gone down, as you can see on the screen here. This is all over the place, bro. I don't know if you're looking at the cash money ticket percentage. I stay away from that stuff. I try to do my own thing. I know I've been swinging and whiffing. But here's the thing. A lot of pros are shading towards A&M. I know the home field's got some vibe here, stuff like that. I'm trying to stay away from the thought last week Texas was just simply better and Georgia beat them solidly in a general sense, I guess. Mm-hmm. The Wegman? Yeah, Wegman and their backup quarterback, right, back and forth on A&M all year, right? You don't even like Wegman. Connor Wegman, the quarterback for A&M, did not look good against Notre Dame. I hate that carousel that they're doing, right? He did not look really that good last week. He had 2 interceptions. I don't know. I try to block it out and go with, what do you think, Corey? LSU's a better football team. They have a loss they shouldn't have. They beat USC. USC's not any good. No, USC's just not a great team. They're not a good team. They won't win their conference, obviously. The spread has gone down, so clearly, I don't know what it says now. It don't matter. It went down a full point, at least. I like LSU plus 2.5 here. I don't know if you have any vibe on it. I don't know if you have a look at it. This is probably the game of the weekend.
Yeah, this has to be the game of the weekend. Okay. 5:30 kickoff. So, yeah, I actually agree with you. And this is I didn't dive into the game. I watch big games more. I know you watch all the small market and those you watch more college football, and you can so that's where you can attack some of the smaller games, right?
Yeah.
And so sometimes looking at the data, I'm still I just need to watch a team and see the data. Well, these are teams that I've watched. LSU just looks like the better team, man. They appear to be the better team. Allen Fieldhouse, what's it called?
Yeah.
Kyle Allen Field, whatever.
Kyle Allen Field, yep.
Yeah, I know it's huge and it's supposed to be a daunting place, but Notre Dame went in there and got the dub.
More physical team that day.
They were a much more physical team, and I thought LSU was much more physical than USC in that game, and they did. They should have absolutely won that game. They shot themselves in the foot. LSU has a far better quarterback.
Yes,
that's kind of my thing. I respect A&M for their defense. I do. But I don't respect them for their offense in any way. And I like Garrett Nussmeier, man. That guy is not afraid to sling the football around.
Dude, he throws some bombs. I don't know the stat, but I would like to know throws over 20 yards. He's got to be in top 5. He's got to be. That dude rips it and gives this many fucks.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, go ahead.
Well, no, so I'm just that's like you said. I didn't want to pour into this game because I like LSU. Just from an eyes perspective. Check out this stat. So I would also lean under here, but the total has gone up, and the money has taken the cash is on the over. So that kind of scares me off. I probably won't place a total now. Money line. LSU is getting 25% of the tickets and 99% of the money.
Really?
Yes. What does that even mean? I don't know. What?
The spread has jumped down since today.
They dropped the point today. Okay.
Today.
Okay.
And a lot of things. Phil Steele's against me, right?
Is he?
A lot of people were
going
against
him again.
I'm going against him again. He's had a rough week last 2 weeks. He said usually November is his month. October is not his month. So maybe I'm on the right side here. I don't know. I'm simply going the fact LSU's a better team. Strength of schedule played 34th for LSU in the country, 33rd for A&M. It's going to be a good game nonetheless. It's for the SEC lead basically at this point, most likely. And whoever loses is probably gone. For the playoff, from the playoff.
Totally, yeah. And I don't know how they do the big time throw percentage exactly, but Garrett, why can't I say this?
Nussmeier. I got you.
There you go. Yeah, appreciate that. 4.37%.
I see it.
Which, that's kind of up there. Like, it's not crazy.
Yeah.
But it's kind of up there. Like, I feel like most of these are around 2-3%.
I agree.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
I only wanted to look
college
at
football is kind of a mess, though. NFL, college football is a mess, right?
Yes.
Like, because you get behind big scores and teams obviously run the spread and the air raid now, right?
Yeah.
The next game, before this game, if you're looking at getting up, I guess, kind of early in your sense, but in general, Washington and Indiana. Indiana has easily, in my eyes, been probably the most surprising team of any conference period, especially of the P4. Indiana is supposed to be probably bottom barrel. I don't think that close, but some magazines had them at the bottom. They were undefeated, which is insane, and they've been super good. Signetti, right, coming from James Madison. He has, in terms of the last 2 seasons, him and Kirby Smart are battling back and forth for most wins. That's pretty cool. I know, but because you're talking, group of 5, right, and now just 1 season in P4. Nonetheless, this is pretty impressive. But we're going to see kind of what Indiana really has. This is the time, right? After Washington, it's Michigan State, Michigan, Ohio State, and then I finish with Purdue. But you know what I mean? Their schedule is going to get serious. That's the point I'm trying to make.
Yeah.
Okay. So Indiana's going to get tested because strength of schedule played is only 108th. I made the bet on Monday, so I was way off. I have -7 is my bet. It's not a best bet for Indiana.
Okay, Indiana.
I did.
Okay.
O'Rourke is out, right? That is their starting quarterback, graded very high. He's having a really, really good year. Here's the thing. We've seen a lot of this year a little bit. I want to, definitely above average amount than maybe some people expected. It's West Coast teams and these big conferences now coming out east, right? Coming out east.
I got you. Is Bloomington, Indiana, is that central or eastern?
Well, that'd be more like a Midwest.
But time zone wise, is that central or eastern?
Oh, that's a super good question because it's actually not that far from Cincinnati if you think about it.
No, it's not. Yeah, I went there.
I actually don't know the answer off the top of my head.
I don't either. I feel like it's eastern. The only reason I asked that question is because that is a what would that be? A noon kickoff for?
Yeah.
For Indiana?
You're going to take my thunder. It's going to be a 9 a.m.
9 a.m. for Washington. Okay, sorry. Didn't mean to steal
No, you're good. You're good. The losses are tough for Washington, right? At Rutgers, man. But again, they traveled all the way over to New Jersey and that side and lost to Rutgers team, who just got destroyed by Wisconsin not that long ago. I know that too well. The 9 a.m. kick sticks out. Washington has allowed 4 sacks in each of the last 2 games. So we're well within conference play. We got big boys on both sides of the ball in the Big Ten Conference. Allowing 4 sacks a game in the last 2 games. And if you look at Indiana, I don't know if you're looking at PFF right now, but look at that Kamara kid. He's going to be playing on Sundays. Yep. Kamara's going to be playing on Sundays. Good edge rusher. I'm assuming he's probably going to have – that could be a sack prop. I'm sure they do sack props in college football, but that's a good sack prop for Kamara here on Saturday. The backup
Can you take college props? I cannot.
Some offshore books have it, and I have a feeling a lot of books will just ban it here.
That's the whole state banned it in Colorado for college.
Yeah.
Bummer.
But if you can see that, I'm sure sack props won't be around. But they don't have the quarterback, but their backup did play last game. He's been in the system for, he's been around Indiana for 2 years now. His brother was just drafted in the NBA last year, one of the best players ever in the last decade for Indiana. The backup quarterback for Indiana. So he's ready. He's been around the program. He's ready to take his stats. I think he had like a 67% completion percentage. So I don't see a ton of drop-off. I know he's not O'Rourke, who's having a great year. Here's the thing. I could see Indiana controlling the game. I love the 6.5 more than I love the 7. That's only it. Indiana is a better team. in my opinion. But at the same token, it's touchdown's a touchdown, bro. You know.
Yes, yeah. I mean, the 6.5 to 7. It's not huge. Obviously, you want the 6.5, but can I? This line seems fishy.
It is fishy. It's kind of spot on, really, at the same time.
Is it? Okay, because it feels like to me Indiana should be like a 10-point spread.
With O'Rourke,
that concerns me.
With O'Rourke, they probably are.
O'Rourke is out. They don't have him as listed out.
They don't on PFF. He's definitely out. They said it on Monday. It was so soon. Yeah.
Oh, when
broken
did he get hurt in that Nebraska game?
Threw the ball and hit his hand on a helmet.
Was it early in the game? Late in the game?
Halfway. Nope, second quarter. First part of second quarter, I think it was. As in, their backup played the entire second half.
Okay, because they steamrolled Nebraska, so I didn't know.
Yeah, they did.
Oh, so the backup quarterback. That makes more sense. Because otherwise, I'm like, this is one of those fishy lines where I just take Washington and plug my nose.
Yeah.
Just because it doesn't make sense to me. I mean, Washington, they're not an impressive football team. They lost to Washington State. Okay. They lost to Rutgers.
We know that.
They got destroyed by Iowa. And these were road Big Ten games, Rutgers and Iowa. But this is a road Big Ten game, too. Okay. So, in my head, I'm like, this is an easy Indiana bet. But every time I think that in college, nope.
The only stat that stuck out to me, and I don't know if this is worth a shit or not. That's why I'll watch this game for this stat alone, and I'll leave it at this. We'll move on because we're working on time here.
Oh yeah,
conference, and this is conference. Big Ten, big boys, good O linemen. We see them all over the NFL. Conference allowed rushing yards for Washington is 4.8.
That's what they allow, Washington?
Yep. Washington allows conference rushing yards 4.8. Northwestern, Rutgers, and Michigan. Teams that do Rutgers and Michigan do not shy away. We only have one option, and that is to run the football. We're not trying to be cute here. We run it. We have to. We will not win otherwise. And they allowed 5.6 against Rutgers, and they allowed 4.7 versus Michigan. Plot twist, 5-9 versus Iowa.
Plot twist. Which Iowa, that's all they do too is run the football.
Yeah.
So what you're saying then is Washington has struggles to defend the run.
Yes. And so with a backup quarterback in Indiana, I'm assuming you're going to run the ball. And they're fine with it. They're not great, but they're fine. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. I think the game's going to be close, and that's why I said the 7's going to be tricky.
Okay, got you. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, you know me. I'm a little scared.
I would be scared too. I'm scared now.
Yeah.
Notre Dame versus Navy is the next one. I think this is pretty interesting. These teams, obviously, being Navy, they played in Ireland last year, which I forgot about when I made this bet.
Shit, they totally did.
Yeah,
oh, sorry.
And it was absolutely an absolute throttle. By the way, when you look at it, Notre Dame actually killed them. So that's why I kind of forgot that it was in Ireland. But this game's been at a neutral site more often than you think. Nonetheless, the last 2 years have been a blowout in the first half, and it's been on the side of Notre Dame. 2 years ago, it was a blowout in the first half. Navy cut it down to 3 and only lost by 3. Okay.
Okay.
Here's a lot of pros like Navy here. A lot of pros like Navy here. They do.
Okay.
So I got scared. I have the 13 because I have a bad number at the first half. I like
you got Notre Dame at 13
on the full game.
Okay.
If you have 7 or less in the first half, I really, really like that. I had 7.5. You might be late to it. The first half is where Notre Dame's better in this game, right? I guess they get kind of sleepy time. Notre Dame strength of schedule is 18th this season. Navy is 118th this season.
Yeah.
Navy runs the ball like crazy, right? We all know that. No surprise. Notre Dame is 35th in ranked rush defense and 15th in tackling. You got to be a good tackler. Why the Ravens?
Not even a surprise.
Yeah.
Navy would be good at that.
Well, no, Notre Dame's 15th.
Oh, Notre Dame. Sorry. Okay.
Notre Dame's 15th ranked in tackling, and they're also 35th in ranked rushing defense. Okay. This is the best rushing defense that Navy has faced since Memphis. Okay. And you're like, Corey, what the hell? They beat Memphis. They ran all over them. because Memphis' ranked defense is 16th. You're like, this is a Navy pick. But guess what the tackling rank for Memphis is? 96th. 96th tackling rank for Memphis. So you got to tackle well. You got to run defense well. And this is a simple, I'm gonna plug Phil Steele here. This is a simple plug for Phil Steele, especially because the strength of schedule for Navy is a lot stronger. 119.4 game grade for Notre Dame. 98.7 for Navy. The standard for him is you just subtract the 2, and that's what the spread should be, right? So if you just simply do that, it should be closer to 20 points, and it's only 13. Again, I prefer the first half, but I think we're too late on that. I was too late on that as well.
I'm going to take a look real quick.
Okay.
So the guy I like in college, are you familiar with Brad Powers?
Ooh, I don't think so. No.
No?
No.
Okay. I love him, man. He does good. Whenever you see my big bets on action for college, I'm just following Brad Powers.
Okay.
I'll admit that.
Okay.
I have no problem admitting that. I'm also going to see if I can find this game real quick. Anyways, so I listened to his breakdown. He didn't give a pick away, which is kind of what I like it too. I kind of like those ones where they just do deep breakdowns and they don't just throw out 800 picks at you, you know?
Yeah.
Because it's like, I want to know why. I want to know the process behind your thinking, because that's going to help me 4 weeks down the road too. You know? Anyways, he seemed pretty bullish on Notre Dame, and the big thing was because Navy's strength of schedule. It's just like, what have they done? Now, he wasn't shitting on Navy because they have really good metrics, but it's like their strength of schedule is like one of the worst in FBS. And so it's like, what do we know about them? What happens when they take this juggernaut step up for them?
Yeah.
Like, what's going to happen to them? And so just based on like his breakdown, I was very much thinking like, this feels like a Notre Dame thing. 7.5 first half spread. Fuck.
Yeah. I see the numbers jump. I got it at 13. Numbers jumped at 13.5. One book looks like at 14 somewhere.
I'm seeing.
So
Yeah.
the numbers jumping up there, which doesn't necessarily surprise me. It seems some public, maybe some money going in there as well. I don't know. I just think strength of schedule is a big play here, right? Strength of schedule can be a play. And first half, I think, is the go-to play. But, you know, God, first half's tough, especially with running teams. And, you know, because Notre Dame's a running team, too. That's how they beat A&M. They got physical at the line, and they just ran them down the throat and got first downs to win it late.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I like that angle, though. Like, I really like that angle. And you provided kind of stats how the last couple of years have gone that way, too.
yeah, maybe, you know, a Navy score early at 7-0. Live.
Then you come in and take them. Oh, sorry. I was just saying, yeah, then you come in and take them. What time is this game? Sorry, I did not.
Yeah, 12 p.m., right at noon.
Okay, so we're getting early.
Yeah,
Sweet.
10 a.m. for
Okay.
you. Yep, 10 a.m. for
Okay.
you. All right, well, let's go to our best bets because, you know, that's what everybody really wants to see. That's what everybody's here for, right?
Before you, or when you flash it up,
Okay.
I have a question on my best bets. Whenever you flash it up.
Oh, you want to go first?
Well, don't you normally put the slide up?
I'm about to.
Okay, throw it up real quick.
Here you go. You're going up.
Oh, because they're different ones. So, well, this was my question. I threw a fifth one in as we were recording.
Okay.
So the question is, do I take out the Colts because you have to buy that price up?
I think that's fair. Yes.
To take them out?
Yep.
Okay, so you go over yours. I'll take this out. real
No
quick.
problem. Yep. Let's see if I can go back. Oh, sorry. There we go. All right. Yeah, best bets. There we go. LSU 2.5 at A&M. That's actually gone down. I got him at 2.5. I don't even hate a money line. I just kind of felt getting the points here was probably pretty solid, especially at home. I'm sorry, at A&M. Right, we just talked about 12th man a little bit. W at Arizona. I didn't want to talk about this, but team total 28.5. I got it at a terrible price at -135. I got that I think on Monday or Tuesday. A lot of people like West Virginia to win the game outright. Arizona has been a very meh team this year. They like to play a lot of offense, and they don't like to play a lot of defense. But I think West Virginia really, really, really needs a win. I like them there. Eagles at Cincinnati Bengals. We touched on that. Money line Bengals. I'm not messing with the spread here. I just got scared. I'm just going to take a little bit of a hit on the value and go Bengals -130 because they're at home here. I like that. And I'm going to be fair this week. I know I'm taking money line Bengals and stuff like that. I'm going to be fair. As long as Alex knows it's all that matters. Whichever one, I'm assuming it's going to be the Clemens. Whichever one is the best EV, right? The value here I'm going to go Clemens probably over a half a sack. He plays for the Jets. I'm going to go him over a half a sack against the Patriots. If for some crazy reason the books think that Khalil Mack is going to be a little bit better odds, we're definitely going to take – I'm going to take both nonetheless. But in terms of a best bet sense, it's going to be Clemens, half a sack. Are you ready for us? Were you that quick?
I'm ready for it. Yeah, you can just text me whichever one you end up.
Sorry.
I'll hold you accountable to the crowd.
I'm sure you will. All right. Are you ready for your best bets? I'm assuming you're taking off Colts.
Oh, I did. It didn't adjust. Oh, because you probably already had it up.
I can totally exit, and I'll let you go for it. You talking about it, and I'll flash it up when you're done.
Oh, okay. You just have to refresh or something?
I do.
Okay,
yeah, you start talking. I got you.
Okay. Yeah. So, starting off here, listen, I've decided I'm going to give a teaser a week. I like it.
Okay.
All right. I'm just a teaser guy. I think I can always find a couple games I like. This week, we're going chalky, taking the Jets and the Chargers, both -1. I think both are in a must-win situation. Obviously, the Jets are. We get a second week with Devontae Adams. Hassan Reddick's coming in. Talked about it. I don't know if he'll play a ton, but they need help on the defensive line. They very much need help. They're playing the lowly Patriots. They already beat the shit out of the Patriots one this year. That's one of their 2 wins. So I like that. I like it. Just win the football game. Chargers, after last week, they're 3-3. I think they absolutely need this game too. They're playing the Saints with Rattler, backup offensive lineman. Receiver core should be a little bit better, but Rashid Shaheed is still out. I just like the Chargers to win. I don't like them versus the spread. I like them both to win. So tease those two. Here's what I threw in. Chicago Bears -2.5 at Washington Commanders. I love the Commanders. Huge fan. However, I like Jaden Daniels. And Marcus Mariota came in last week.
Yep.
And he looked good. Don't believe it, people. Don't believe it. When a backup quarterback enters the game and the other team has not prepped for them, I don't like it. When I'm betting the other side, I don't like that. That scares me because the other team has not prepped for that player. And that is a huge component of the NFL. They are down to the microcosm of every single thing. So now you give the Bears, which has a good defense, coming off a bye, and they know who the quarterback's going to be. We don't know this with 100% certainty. I'd call it a 75% chance we get Marcus Mariota, so I'm taking a little bit of a chance here. But you have to grab the number now if you, like me, believe that the Washington Commanders are not going to rush Jaden Daniels back on the field. Because if Marcus Mariota is announced in, I think this number goes to 3.5. So grab the Bears at 2.5 now if you agree with me. I talked about Joe Mixon. Colts can't stop fucking anybody. Over 76.5 rushing yards. A.J. Brown. Bengals give up the number 1 receiver. Often, when A.J. Brown's been healthy, he's hit this in 3 of 3 games. That's what I got.
Yeah, man. I got it at 75.5. So if
it went up, yeah.
You might want to jump on it now.
Here too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh wow, 3 yards. I don't know how props work like that, but that sounds like a lot. Generally, when I
look is a lot for a prop.
Yeah, when I look at that stuff, it is. All right. Well, you heard it here best, and you heard it here maybe first. I don't know. Anyway, you got us. That's the cue right there.
Well, my mom just got into town, so I have, yes.
All right.
Run.
Let's hit it. All right. We'll see y'all. Peace.